I want to welcome Worksaholics from across the country and thank the Annie Mac Nation for their growing and continued support of the Annie Mac Works productivity platform. If you're new to the relationship and this is one of the first times you've taken a peek at what we're doing, we run a fully functional real estate productivity platform, including teaching, training, coaching, professional designations, and a whole suite of technology that is referred to as My Work Suite. All of it is free from charge because it is sponsored by Annie Mac Home Mortgage, and that's why it's called Annie Mac Works. Today is the third part of a series that has become very, very popular, and it is our Real Estate Staging Expert Professional Designation. It is a three-part series. You may have been through parts 1 and 2 already, and if not, we invite you to go back to the archive library, the on-demand archive library at anniemacworks.com to visit part 1 and 2. This is part 3, though, and it's distinctive in that it's going to focus on marketing yourself as a real estate staging expert and really stay in the wheelhouse or the lane of residential real estate sales commission dollars. I'm a sales guy first. I'm not a decorator. I am a real estate sales guy for the past 29 and a half years. I've sold about 3,500 homes in almost 30 years. Been on about 5,000 residential real estate listing appointments in a 30-year career. So I can tell you that my wheelhouse, my area of expertise focuses solely in the real estate lane, if you will. I want to thank your instructor from part 1, Carrie Krumenacker, my partner in crime running the Annie Mac Works productivity platform. She did a heck of a job really breaking down the basic understandings of staging, really dispelling some rumors, I think was the intention of the part 1 event, and really trying to give some commonsensical viewpoint to the whole dialogue about staging. I mean, everybody's got this preconceived notion that we've got to rent furniture to be a stager, or we're going to, go out and, renovate houses or all that, where a lot of it really just comes down to some common sense decision making and support of your sellers. We're really in service to the sellers to help them maximize their equity position, help them increase their revenue when they're selling their house, and finally to sell it a little bit more quickly. And curriculum advisor Hallie Agostinelli came to us back in 2000. I guess it was about 8.5, and we worked together directly with her. She's out of Palm Beach, Florida, and we worked together with her to build the initial curriculum for this. A big, big thank you to Victoria Gouillet. She is the stage coach, and she is our third-party vendor who came in to host what I think, and I listened to the entire event yesterday personally, and I'll tell you, I could not be more proud of the granular detail that she brings to your understanding of some of these important staging decisions. She breaks it down even to color code, overcrowding, all that great stuff that Carrie doesn't necessarily focus on, and nor do I. So it's a real upgrade to the Real Estate Staging Expert Designation to bring Victoria in. We want to invite you to visit her site, stagecoachservices.com, and really understand some of the products and services she sells. This is in no way the home shopping network, and we're not endorsing or pushing any vendor to go out and spend money with, but she's got some really affordable pieces of equipment that you can either buy individually packaged or as a bulk to work directly with your sellers in these important topics. And I'm talking really, really cost-effective ways for you to bring the message to your local marketplace. So I want to address this because I've been a realtor for, like I said, 29 and a half years, been in a lot of living rooms. And when I hear agents say, what's the big deal about staging, it speaks to their level of professionalism. It speaks to their level of commitment to their endeavor. What I mean by that is the greatest characteristic of a listing agent is the characteristic to be able to sell houses faster and for more money. To have a bedside manner with our clients that makes your client feel comfortable and keeps you in positive professional control of the situation throughout the ups and downs of the listing agreement, throughout the terms of the marketing window, and ultimately in those crucial conversations about price, condition, and oh, by the way, why isn't my house sold yet? Why have 34 people came and looked at it and not written me an offer? Why have so few people come out to look at my home? These are the particulars, the nuance of residential real estate as a profession that makes staging a very, very big deal. The other thing is, if I were going to walk out onto a stage, and I want you to think about this visual for just a second, because this really helped me as a young realtor understand my responsibilities in the marketplace. Let's say I was willing to walk out onto a stage with 5 other realtors from my local marketplace, and there were 100 to 200 sellers in the audience, and their job was to ask the 5 realtors questions. You're one of the 5, and their job as the sellers is to ask questions about you until they can pick the one that's best suited to market their home. If you were invited to be on that stage of 5 realtors, and there were 100 sellers out in the audience, how would you stack up against the other 4? And you know that scenario occurs every single day in the hearts and minds of the sellers in your marketplace. In other words, they have, in some cases, Naples, Florida, they might have 9,000 realtors to choose from, correct? Well, how are you standing out in the crowd? How are you jumping off that stage in the hearts and minds of those sellers? And if you don't think staging can help you do that, you're dead wrong. Average increase in sales price, staged homes versus non-staged homes, 6.9%. National Association of Realtors says that houses that are properly prepared for the marketplace are going to sell 6 to 13% higher prices. Toll Brothers, Lennar, GL Homes, KB Homes, all of the major builders in the country say that if I can properly prepare the model home for a wide variety of buyers who are going to make an emotional connection with that property, that I'm going to be able to sell my house for more profit. So it doesn't matter if I'm a aggressive, kind of cheapo builder. I still know that I'm going to sell my houses for more money if I can make an emotional connection with a wider number of buyers through properly preparing the house. And if you guys are out and about talking to sellers and you refer to things like these statistics, then you're able to close your seller for an appointment based on excluding all the other realtors that are not staging experts. What I mean by that is that if I have an opportunity to speak to those sellers on that stage with these 5 others, and I'm the only one that's a certified staging expert, then I can exclude my competitors by saying, wouldn't you rather have a certified staging expert on your side if properly preparing a listing for the marketplace has been proven to increase the purchase price by 6.9% or 6 to 13%? How about days on the market? Is that an important thing for you as a seller to attain the highest level of convenience? Selling faster is just about convenience. It's about peace of mind. It's about a pleasurable, non-stressful experience. You ask any seller who's been on the market for 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 15 months how stressful selling their home is versus someone who's been on the market for 25 days with 3 offers. So selling your house faster is not a gimmick. It's not a ploy. It's not a way to cheapen what you do. It's a way to appeal to that sense of convenience that a seller's looking for. So, again, I'm on stage. There's 5 realtors on stage with me. There's 100 and some odd sellers in the audience. And I'm the one that went through the extensive education to become a certified staging professional. I completed the Real Estate Staging Expert Designation. I finished the training. I completed the home study portion. And when I was done, I had some of the expertise necessary to help you list your house for 6 to 13% higher prices and to sell your house in 40% fewer days on the market. These are real deals. And then this is the last one from the American Staging Professionals that says 94% of their homes staged by ASP sell an average in 29 days or less. That's 94% of them sell in less than a month. That's a big deal if you're competing for listings. And Mike Ferry taught me a long time ago, when I was a Mike Ferry disciple back in the 90s and spending tens of thousands of dollars per year on his training, that statistical data and statistical observations are a realtor's friend. And they can set your company apart from the other companies in the marketplace. And the neat thing, if you've ever taken a statistics class, is you can find the right statistical observations to make your point. And certainly in the context of staging, it's fewer days on the market, faster sales, higher prices, And here's the misconceptions that our real estate friends seem to get caught up on. They want to believe somehow that the word staging equals renting furniture, or that the word home staging is a major project, or that when I sit down with a seller, let's take a scenario out of thin air. I got a $199.9 seller who really needs to be at $179. I know it. He kind of knows it, but he won't admit it. And every realtor that ever shows his house knows it. It's a $199 asking price that needs to be at $179. And the reason that we don't talk about staging with him is because that we think that the process is going to be difficult, the process is going to be expensive, and he probably doesn't want to entertain all those cosmetic changes to that house. Well, guess what? When we change the context of the conversation over to there's a fork in the road right now. It's appearing that more and more that 179.9 is the number. I want to do a staging analysis with your home to see what the maximum price could be if we were to really aggressively stage this property. And oh, by the way, if there's too many things to do, we can compromise. Maybe we could be at 184.9 or 187.9 and get a little closer to that mark because you're not willing to do all the things on the bigger list to properly stage your property. But when I talk about staging, I really focus on these 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 at the very top, and certainly the total returns on investment with a seller. I said, let me show you what I mean by staging. By taking some time and investing somewhere between $80 and $150 on lightening and brightening the house, we can typically show about a 700-800% return on that investment. Nationally, 84% of all residential real estate professionals recommend lightening and brightening a house when you're on the market, or before you go on the market, or if you're fighting with a slightly overpriced listing. Let's look at lightening and brightening as a conversation. Clean and declutter. Maybe a $300 to $400 investment if you have to rent a pod or some storage. The average increase in the sales price is going to be somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000 and about 600%. 91% of all agents recommend cleaning and decluttering a home before or during the marketing process. And that only shows that 9% of residential realtors have no clue what this job is about. That 9% of them said, no, don't clean and declutter the house. How about landscape and trim? You think you can make a difference with a couple of bags of grade A cypress mulch, or spending $30 on some impatiens or some flowering plants in the front? Landscape and trim, $400 to $500 investment, 260% return. And finally, just deciding to take some furniture out of the house if something feels overcrowded, maybe even moving things around. And if you were in Victoria's course yesterday, you saw some huge opportunities where she talks about rooms that are surrounded by furniture or that block the flow. You're talking about very minimal investments and huge returns. Now, the reason we like to see this home repair separated from home staging is because home repair is about maintenance. These aren't, should I maintain my house? When should I? These are musts. We're not going to be able to sell a house for top dollar if we've got major plumbing problems, kitchens and bath problems, flooring that's torn or stained, if your exterior walls are chipped and peeling, or if your carpeting has got holes in it and stained. I mean, that's just, you're getting into maintenance issues that need to be addressed. So under the home repair conversation, I like to focus on proper maintenance and saying things like, these are, relatively common sense home maintenance decisions. I think we might need to address that plumbing leak or the stains that are outside by the hose bib and things like that Carrie showed you on part 1. But more important than the percentages and more important than the way that you're going to station your advice in these relationships, more important than all that, is it possible that you could walk in an extra 3 living rooms this year because of your staging expertise? Is it possible that you could close a couple of more appointments that would have got away if you didn't have that go-to staging conversation? Ultimately, I'm a listing agent because I determined a long time ago in my career that buyers take 28 to 35 hours and listings take 7 to 10 hours. So if you're a return on investment person, if you're a return on invested time type of an agent, you want to think about the fact that you could sell 3 times as many homes in less time if you're on the listing side of the commission than if you're on the buyer side of the commission. So if staging helps me take more listings, then I'm all ears, baby. I'm all ears. And ultimately, can you sell and close more homes? Because more important than any of the feng shui mauves and I think Victoria's got a new color, that colonial. I think it's like a light gray color that's become the go-to color for builders and developers for neutral staging decisions. So more important than feng shui and more important than color codes and more important than palettes, are you going to list more houses? Are you going to sell more houses? So I invite you to explore the reality of those other 4 agents that are on stage with you today. They're sitting in front of 100 sellers, and 3 out of 4 of them are going to say, hey, I can give you a free CMA. I'm the realtor on stage here today that can really help you understand how much your house is worth. Some of them are going to say something that really stands them out, and they're going to say, well, my company is employed by HUD, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, to offer what we call broker price opinions. And I can provide you a written broker price opinion at no charge. The same broker price opinion that we provide for banks and corporate clients even federal clients, we can provide for you at no charge. Typically, these are worth between $200 and $400, depending on who you're looking at in the marketplace for that expertise. I can offer you a broker price opinion free from charge. Now, every state's different on the language, but you know what I'm trying to get to. Rather than use the standard CMA language or how much your house is worth, really just trying to point to a little bit more expertise in a BPO. Market data reports. I can provide you comprehensive data reports on all the sales in your neighborhood, everything active, pending, and closed. I do property resale reports for all of my seller prospects, and I can get that to you on a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly basis to keep you up to speed with what's happening in your marketplace. I'm standing in front of 100 sellers and I say, I've got a 60-day sale guarantee or a 30-day sale guarantee. Are there realtors in your community right now that are offering these types of guarantees? Now, I'm not endorsing, suggesting that anyone on the line does offer these guarantees, although hundreds and hundreds of realtors across the country do. If you study Craig Proctor, or if you study any of the unique selling proposition guys across the country, including Chip Isabella, you'd find that they get into offering these types of guarantees just so that they'll look different on that stage, right? There was a push from ERA back in the 90s that said, if ERA can't sell your home, we'll buy it. And a lot of residential realtors picked up on that throughout the country. And now you're standing on stage. 5 of the realtors are on stage with you. You're in front of 100 sellers. And one of them says, if I can't sell your home, I'm going to buy it from you. Well, what does that do to you? Does that shrink your offering? Or can you stand up boldly in front of that realtor and say, yes, ma'am, his company is infamous for offering this, I'll buy your home. What it is, it's a very calculated methodology to get you to reduce your home to a price that's lower than market value. Do you think that his company would purchase your home for retail? Well, I'd rather talk to you about X, Y, and Z rather than just reducing your price. Okay, so you've got to have ways that you're combating these prospecting angles, or buy in, jump in with both feet and use them, but don't complain that they exist without knowing how to combat them. If you're going to be in the expired listing marketplace, the for sale by owner marketplace, if you're going to be geographic farming, if you're going to venture at all outside of your sphere of influence in 2015, 16, 17, you're going to need to understand how your competitors are prospecting. I'll sell your home in 60 days or less guaranteed, or I'll make the mortgage payment for you until it's sold. One of the most compelling arguments in residential real estate in 2015. Move with me and use this house for free. You've seen those all over the country, right? And then last but not least, this has been my favorite tagline on marketing material since I can remember. Don't misquote this. I will sell your home for the highest price if you can close by August 30th, 2015. I will sell your house for the highest price if you can close before school starts again in the fall. I will sell your house for the highest possible price if you can close before the holidays. Any of the taglines that are date sensitive and offer a reason why you can sell it for the highest possible price by a certain date are fantastic prospecting initiatives and should be considered in your local market. The reason I take the time to run through these is so that you can put the staging conversation in context with these other prospecting offers. I love to say to a farming area, free staging evaluation, 8-page report valued at $600, absolutely free and with no obligation. We'll come over, walk through your home, give you some pointers out of how you can maximize your equity position in your home, how you can get top dollar for your property in this very, very competitive marketplace. And we do that free for every client. We're the only company in Naples that is certified staging professionals. We offer that training to our realtors at no cost. Therefore, we can offer you certified staging professionals, $600 pre-listing evaluation analysis free of charge when you call Sally, Anna, Brian, right? Last but not least, if I'm working in the for sale by owner market sector, if I'm working in the expired listing market center, if I'm working in my farm area, I may throw a tagline out that says, increase your sales price by 6 to 13%, speed up your sale by as much as 40%, free staging service, call Brian. These are just interesting ways to open up a Facebook message. How about a post on Facebook that your audience sees? How about an ad on Facebook that costs $5 to $10 a click? That when the seller clicks on it, it's because he wants your staging analysis. Are these potentially new and different ways to get into living rooms? And that's what everything about staging is about. I want to change your vocabulary once you're in conversation with a seller, though. Rather than using terms like remodeling, repairing, and staging, I want you to start using terms like common sense, maintenance, and preparation. What it'll do is it'll set a tone that a layperson can relate to. I don't want a seller to become uncomfortable with certain terminologies or feel anxious about the commitment they're about to make. So once I'm on the phone with a seller, or once I'm in the living room with a seller, what I'm going to hope to do is make the whole process feel very, very comfortable. Look, what we can do together is we can really put our heads together on how to make some real good common sense decisions that are going to help us get the highest possible price. My reputation in this marketplace is dependent upon selling houses for the top dollar. If we can maximize your sale price by 3 to 6%, it's going to help me long term in this marketplace. And what we're going to really look at doing is really looking at some maintenance issues and some proper preparation issues before we get on the market. And what I like to do is I'd like to print a report for you, and we can review it. And if some of the decisions that are on there make sense, we might move forward with them. If some of them are a little bit more pricey or a little bit more challenging for you to face, then we can make some common sense decisions to hold off on those if we need to. But ultimately, let's just take a look at what the report says. We can work together. Now, if you ever want to gain credibility, rapport, and relationship to a seller, stick your right shoulder up against their left shoulder and look at the report. There's nothing that's going to give you a higher level of esteem in the hearts and minds of your seller than caring about them and caring about the highest possible price. Too many realtors are slam bam, thank you man, let's reduce the price, move on, right? What about an expired listing that's been on the market for 2 6-month terms and everyone's yelling at them about their price, but you come in and say, let's take a look at the staging analysis. Your homework from parts 1 and 2 was to complete the home study section of the workbook. The workbook can be found at AnnieMacWorks.com in the staging portal. And we had asked that you fill it out and complete it. Now there's a whole bunch of prompts. Now I think these prompts are very, very helpful to help you when you're walking through a particular bedroom, a particular bathroom, the foyer, the entryway, or the curb appeal issues of the house. And it's basically what I would consider an application for you to run through and check yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, and keep your notes. There's a lot of note sections in the workbook so that you can write down ideas as you see them. And if you're finding things that are wood rot in nature, water entry, God forbid you find mold or some semblance of water damage, you've got an opportunity to point it out, not claim expertise, but say, listen, these are the things that I would notice as a buyer if I were walking through, and they might raise questions, correct? Don't ever try to overstep your expertise and tell them that you could tell if there's a roof leak or not. Just say, if I were a buyer, I've shown houses to thousands of buyers, these are the things that the buyers look at, right? So you've got an opportunity to summarize those. And then the very last part of your homework was to create a good, better, best scenario. And I think of all the things that are in the staging arena, this good, better, best is the realtor's best friend. What I want to do is I want to take section 1 at the top of this summary And I want to put in all the things that are easy breezy. You know, welcome mats, cobwebs cleaned up, screens cleaned, flower beds planted, new mulch put in, easy breezy. Get some water on the lawn in the back, see if we can get the green to come back over there on the right side of the pool. Maybe weed this one flower bed. All those easy breezy things that cost very little money. The second section of your home study would really focus on things that might be a little bit more challenging when you've got a lot of dust on a bunch of ceiling fans, when you've got window treatments that are dated and you might want to just use the blinds instead of the drapes, things that don't cost a lot of money but may cross the line in personality and really be a buffer in your relationship. What I mean by that is when someone has a lot of religious paraphernalia, when someone has maybe they're a rodeo guy and they've got rodeo stuff everywhere. Maybe they're a cigar smoker or a pipe smoker, and that's a big part of what you feel when you come into the house. Maybe they cook with a particular ingredient. I've had some ethnic groups that cook heavy curry or heavy, a couple of Asian families that I remember listing over the years had a lot of oils that they used in their kitchen, and I may or may not choose to address that because I don't want to bump heads on something, but I can put it on the list and bring their eyes to it. Maybe there's screens that have holes in them. These are the easier middle of the road type things, but they need to be mentioned. And then part 3 in closing is the things that are a little bit more expensive, kind of best case scenarios. So for example, the whole family room is painted burgundy, and it really darkens the entire house. Or the teenager in the back lives like a vampire, and he or she has tinfoil on his windows or it's dark. A pool that needs marsiting, or a lawn that is more weeds than grass. And believe me, I've listed multi-million-dollar houses and I've listed $100,000 houses, and you see areas of concern in all price points, and you have to be adept at picking your battles and laying out those ideas about things that you could do. So I hope that the good, better, best summary is a useful tool for you. If you include that summary, also include some photographs. Digital photography makes things so very, very easy. Prioritize and estimate these ideas and send them to service@associateworks.com. If you send in your homework, you will receive a certificate of completion, and you'll be licensed to use all the marketing materials that we gift to you through Annie Mac Works. So today we're going to focus just the last half or 20 minutes of the class on marketing yourself, creating the proper context, and making good business decisions with your staging designation. I want to point out the 8 ways that most agents get listing appointments. The top 3 ways that realtors get listing appointments is pretty much how 80% of listings happen in our industry: through a personal referral or a past customer, and through bumping into somebody at a PTA meeting, at the store, happenstance with a buyer that calls on another property and happens to be interested in listing their home. Those 3 are less proactive, or can be less proactive, and could be more reactive. Numbers 4 through 8 really represent the top 10% of realtors in the country. You know, the lower 90% of producers really don't get into telemarketing. They really don't get into door knocking or doing marketing at all. They don't do a lot of direct mail or advertising whatsoever. But 4 through 8 is where your staging designation is going to come really, really useful. But I want to talk about 1 through 3 real quick, and I hope you can read the script on the right-hand side. If you can't, maximize your screen a little bit, and you can see the print on the right side. So let's say a friend or family member calls you to list their home. Let's say a family that you sold a house to back in 2003 calls you to list a home. Let's say that you're at the grocery store and you see an old friend and they say, hey, you're in real estate, aren't you? I was thinking about selling my home. These top 3 ways are how almost all listings happen. So would it be better to have a script or some sort of a particular agenda to get a listing appointment? I think it would be better. So you're at the grocer and they say, hey, I'm thinking about listing my home. And then I say, well, I can prepare a broker price opinion for you. This is a document that analyzes all of the comparables in the neighborhood. It focuses on market days on the market, asking prices versus selling prices. It gives you a really good idea of what you can expect price per square foot. And it's a very thorough assessment of your home in your neighborhood. All the comparable homes that will affect your home in the marketplace will be in consideration. I can have this broker price opinion prepared for you at no cost and no obligation. I'd love to pop over this weekend so I can look at your house. Does that sound like a good place to start? Go for the jugular. I hate to sound like a sales guy, but too often the sphere of influence friend, family member, someone at the grocery store says something to you and you don't close them for an appointment. Start closing for an appointment, even if it does sound kind of salesy. Great salespeople make more money in the residential real estate business than people who don't know how to sell. And what selling is all about is getting the appointment. So they say to you, I'm not really ready yet. I'm not really ready for that yet. We're thinking about it. We're thinking about by the summer, we're going to probably put the house on the market. So now you have a go-to offer that you can make. So you're still in the grocery store and they say, no, I'm not really ready for that yet. I say, I'd like to offer you a free service, which our company offers. 2015 is going to be one of the most competitive marketplaces to sell a home. Our company has devised an effective way to help you protect the equity in your home and get the highest possible price. Change the words, guys. I know this is a caricature. That's what scripts are. They're caricatures of the way that you should be thinking about the language. Hey, I know you've heard of staging. Our company is one of the few companies in this county that teaches, trains, and coaches our agents how to be professional staging experts. We want to go over everything in a pre-listing inspection that we can do to help you get the highest possible price. So even if you're not going to be selling your house until June, July, or August, I can come over and do an inspection on the house and show you what this pre-listing staging analysis can do for you. That's a long-winded way. I'm sorry I kind of messed up that little script, but here it is in red. Did you know this for me, this is bright red in the conversation. This is the top of what I would say to a seller. Mary, did you know that the inventory of move-in ready homes is at an all-time low? When you put your house on the market, there's only a handful of houses in the whole community that you're going to be competing against that are move-in ready. I've got buyers right now that really don't want a foreclosure. They don't want a fixer-upper. They don't want to renovate someone else's mess. And they don't want to wait for a short sale to be approved. And unfortunately, when buyers are out looking, a lot of times a lot of the houses that they're looking at are fixer-uppers or foreclosures or everything. So many of the houses that are on the market are just in terrible condition. If we make the right decisions for you and your house, we can get you top dollar in today's real estate market. I think that's true. I really believe that that's true in most of the markets you guys serve. Now, if I'm telemarketing, if I'm doing some door knocking, or if I'm visiting expireds or for sale by owners, I may be a little bit more assertive in my script. So let's say I door knock an expired listing on a Wednesday afternoon. Hey, I'm sorry to stop by so early or so late. I might want to stop by at 6:30 when they've come home from work. I might want to stop by at 9 o'clock in the morning, hope to catch them before they go to work. But I'm sorry to stop by so late after the dinner hour, but I wanted to catch you when you were home from work. I've been watching your property closely on the market because you were on the market before with XYZ Realtor. Today when I pulled up your listing, it had been taken off the market. Or when I was looking at your listing, I noticed it's not on the market in the multiple listing service. Listen, I've been selling homes just like yours for more than this many years. I want to show you exactly why your house hasn't sold yet. Can I stop by later tonight when you get home from work? Or can I stop by tomorrow when you get home from work to show you why your house hasn't sold yet? A lot of sellers respond very, very well, especially expired listings or for sale by owners, as an explanation of why your house isn't sold. They think that you may have a secret reason, right? So again, red ink. Our company provides professional broker price opinions and pre-listing inspection services to banks and government agencies. I'm authorized to offer you the same services with no cost and no obligation. One of the most valuable services we offer is our real estate staging expert staging analysis, which helps our sellers capitalize on market conditions to achieve the highest possible price. I can do an inspection for you at no cost. Would it be something that you'd be interested in doing? Would this weekend be a good time to schedule your staging analysis? These are great ways to close sellers. If you can get behind the idea that staging analysis does have value and that you are providing secret answers as to why their house hasn't sold, and you're providing insider secrets or expert advice as to how they can sell their house faster and for more money. If you'll stand up for that, then they'll appreciate it. But if you have less than conviction about it, then they're not going to have conviction about it. I promise you, they're going to reflect back your level of passion and conviction about that offer. We said that the number 6 way that realtors across the country get into listing appointments is by what they call door knockers or door distributed marketing materials. This was our ugly old door hanger back in the day, back in the 90s and early parts of 2000. We've kind of redesigned the door hanger piece for you to deliver, and we've given you the template. There's all the same language that we've been going over on script are right here on the door hanger. Sell your house for higher price, faster, 6 to 13% higher prices, sold 40% faster. Staging your governor's walk home means more money and a faster sale. Those are great things that the seller can see. And those of you who are online know you only have about 4 or 5 seconds on the way to the trash can to get their attention when you're going to do a door hanger. But we've given you the door hanger pieces to use in your local market. And I posted on Facebook about this week. I want to challenge anybody who's online to use this letter template on the expired listing marketplace, to use this letter template on your geographic farm area, and to potentially use this letter template in for sale by owner marketing. Don't let your realtor sell you short on the price of your home. Don't reduce your price. All of these taglines that are in these letters are proven to get sellers to call you on the phone. So if you're going to send out a letter to a for sale by owner, if you're going to send out a letter to an expired listing, use the staging conversation to differentiate yourself and get your attention. We give you these letter templates free from charge. You're able to download them and use them. You can even paraphrase the message. I want to speak to the newest technology. When I find an expired listing, when I find a for sale by owner, I might not pick up the phone right away. I might not drive across town right away. Instead, in today's marketplace, go to Facebook. Go to LinkedIn and find that seller on LinkedIn or Facebook. Paraphrase this letter in a private message on Facebook and see if you get a response. One of the top earners in the state of Florida, and I'm talking top 10 earners in the state, this guy uses Facebook as his initial conversation with expireds. And if he can't find them on Facebook, he looks for them on LinkedIn, and he sends them, paraphrases these types of letters to get out to his sellers on Facebook and LinkedIn. And I'm telling you that's worth the price of admission right there. I know these marketing materials work. They're proven time after time to make for sale owners, expireds, list pendants, farming clients respond to you on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and in direct mail. We give you these pieces of equipment to use. They are proven, and the only thing we ask is that you like us on Annie Mac Works on our Facebook page, and give us some good news. Next week, when you get a listing call, 2 weeks from now, when you take your first listing from one of these letters, send us a note on Annie Mac Works on Facebook and let the whole audience know that you did it and it worked. That you paraphrased one of these letters on Facebook or LinkedIn and they got you into a living room with an expired listing, a for sale owner, a farming client. And I'm going to go through this relatively quickly, but I want you to see that there's a system behind this thinking. Once you secure the appointment to go over to their home to do the staging analysis, I want you to see the staging analysis as an exchange of value that you're giving for something. And what you're giving it to them for is so that they'll listen to you for a little bit about your company and about the opportunity to list their house with you. In other words, if you walk in on Tuesday night at 7 o'clock and you do a staging analysis from 7 to 7:30 and you walk out, you haven't gotten any value out of that relationship. But if you walk in and you're properly prepared for the listing appointment and you do a nickel tour and you do a safe island and you do your listing presentation and you make a business decision and then you proceed with a staging evaluation, then you've gotten a fair trade of value for that staging evaluation. So we're just going to roll through this real quick. If you're going to properly prepare for a listing presentation, you need to have a full BPO or CMA. You should do a search of their destination properties. Where are they moving to? A lot of times the seller confides in you that they're moving to X, Y, or Z city, county, or state. You can do a search of properties in that community to show them what's available that they're going to be moving to. Partner with Annie Mac Home Mortgage and get a loan advisor or a good faith estimate on the house that they're selling and potentially the one that they're buying so that you can show them about how much their mortgage payment will change if they're going to be buying a house. A listing book or some sort of a listing marketing presentation, whether it be a PowerPoint on your tablet or on your laptop, or if you use an old-fashioned book like I do, I turn to a leather-bound binder and I want to go through my marketing materials. I like for all my realtors to have an electronic measuring device with them when they walk in. You could buy these at Home Depot for about $20. Obviously, don't use your iPhone or your Galaxy 4 as your digital camera. Go ahead and have a professional looking camera with you, and never ever go on a potential listing appointment without an electronic lockbox in your hands. If your local market uses electronic lockboxes, you need to sell the advantages of an electronic lockbox as part of your listing presentation and show them the professionalism and security that comes with an electronic lockboxing device, because all too often realtors don't push accessibility in their listing presentations and they lose showings because they didn't get an electronic lockbox. And then last but not least, if you're properly prepared for a listing presentation, you're going to have that 8-page analysis workbook with you when you walk in. A nickel tour is all about time. Time to get to know the seller a little bit. So I want to say something like this. Mrs. Smith, I appreciate you having me over. Do you mind if we take a little tour of the house before we sit down so I can get to know the property a little bit better? It would be common sense for you to be professionally dressed, approachable, smile. Maybe not so common sense to say hello to the children that are in the house and ask for permission before you open doors. If you're going to poke into their master bathroom, say, is it okay if I take a look in the shower? I want to take a look at the master closet. Ask for permission for those things. Enhance your credibility with anecdotes about other houses that you've sold. Compliment and notice things about their home, especially if you point out upgrades and improvements before they do. You're going to gain credibility by complimenting those upgrades and improvements before they point them out to you. Try to find out what makes them tick. You're on a nickel tour with them. You're shooting the bull about their house. Ask them, where are you thinking about moving to? How soon would you like to move? And then always, if they called you for the staging process, when we do our staging analysis, we'll address all these things later. I'm a certified staging expert. The statistics prove that we can sell your house faster and for more money if we properly prepare the house for sale. So the nickel tour provides you a formal time, a formal environment to have some of that light rapport building conversations. A safe filing is a statement at the beginning of the appointment that tells the seller that you are in positive professional control. If you've never seen Floyd Wickman in action, he is the finest listing appointment trainer I know. It tells the seller a preview of coming attractions. That's how Floyd refers to it. It says to the seller at the beginning of the appointment, listen, I've been selling real estate here in Naples for 23 years. I'm going to be selling real estate here in Naples for another 23 years. So I don't have a preference whether you list your house tonight, 2 nights from now, or 2 weeks from now. But I have one opportunity to kind of go over how my company works and why we've been so successful selling homes like yours here in Naples. So I'd like to go through a little bit of conversation about my company and how we work. Then we're going to do some math, if that's okay with you. I'd like to show you how the mathematics works if you do elect to hire our company to sell. And then at the very end, I'd like to go over that staging analysis that we talked about. Is that okay? Never underestimate the importance of the safe island. I promise you, 3,500, 4,500 listing appointments, setting a positive professional control at the beginning of the presentation is a real good decision. And it does lower the seller's defenses, and it gains permission from them that you're going to take positive professional control of the presentation. You've got to have some 5-minute, 7-minute, 10-minute, 15-minute presentation about yourself, your company, all the great marketing that your company does, aggressive IDX exposure on Realtor.com, national listing services and syndication that you're involved with. How do you mobilize the real estate community? How do you mobilize the worldwide community to induce showings and inquiries on this house? And how can you leverage a wider audience than what they can leverage on their own, or what other real estate companies do? If you have unique selling propositions like Hero Home Source or My Work Suite, and obviously you have My Work Suite because it's absolutely free, sponsored by Annie Mac Home Mortgage. Go to myworksuite.com to download it. It's a big part of your listing presentation if you want it to be. But you got to have some presentation. Now here's the key, and this is the close before we wrap up for the day. Make a business decision. I've come over to their home. I've walked through a nickel tour with them. I have a decent rapport. I've done my safe filing, so I've gained positive professional control over the situation. I've walked through a brief presentation about myself and my company and our marketing. Now I've got to the end of that routine, if you will, because it is a ritual. Successful people are ritualistic by nature. I want you to say that. Successful people are ritualistic by nature. They're going to do the same structured listing conversation over and over and over again once they discover that it's successful. But now I'm in a position where I need to make a business decision. And the litmus test that I'm going to apply at this point in the conversation has to do with these bullet points on the left. Does this prospect seem open to dialogue about pricing and an imminent move, or are they just messing around? What is the likelihood that this client's going to list with me at this point in the conversation? Does it feel warm, or are they defensive and angry and filled with anxiety and they don't really want to talk about things? Are they open to dialogue? If I list this home, can I sell it now or anytime in the next 12 months based on some impending doom or impending situation that the seller is facing? Maybe they're facing a divorce. Maybe they're facing a bankruptcy. Maybe they're facing a short sale. Maybe they're facing a job relocation, or maybe they just really have too much house than what they need, or maybe they have too little house than what they need, and I feel their motivation is going to increase over time. That's going to affect my business decision. And last but not least, if you're a busy residential real estate professional, one of the litmus tests you give a potential seller is, do I really want to work with this exact person for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months? Maybe they have a personality conflict with me. Maybe that doesn't feel like a nice fit. Whatever the case might be, I get to make the business decision. And once I've made the business decision, and we're starting to wrap up here, I promise, I'm going to make my staging effort commensurate with my understanding of the prospect relationship. Meaning, I can do a quick staging analysis and fill in all the blanks in 5 to 15 minutes and move on with my day. Because the number one rookie mistake is to become a gopher or a chauffeur for clients. Meaning that you're spending an inordinate amount of time with a particular seller or buyer that's really not even someone who you're going to be listing, or not something that you're going to end up generating any revenue from. So if I make the decision that I'm not really interested in this listing, or it doesn't seem like there's an adequate amount of motivation, I'm gonna fulfill my obligation and walk through the house real quickly and kind of make some notes and kind of review that thing in the next 15 or 20 minutes, and that's going to be the end of my appointment. If there's a warm connection, and this prospective seller and I have a great rapport, and it very much seems as though they're motivated to sell their house, I might stay there for another 30 to 90 minutes. I really might. And I've done it hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, where the seller is open and warm and very accommodating and very interested in what we have to talk about. And I say, well, do you mind giving me a few minutes, and I'll do my walkthrough, and then we can sit down afterwards and I can review the staging analysis with you. That way I can really do a detailed evaluation in person at the house, and then sit down with them and go over it with them with that right shoulder pressed up against their left shoulder, having that camaraderie with them and reviewing those staging evaluations. Now I want to talk about the third one, because I really want this listing. But I can tell there's going to be some sharp edges. I can tell there's going to be some difficulty. How can I tell that? Because I know the price has got to be $179 and they're at $214.9. You know that kind of seller? I know that they need to be at $399.9, but they're thinking $450. I can tell during the conversation that they think their house is a palace. And I know that compared to the rest of the houses, this price point, it's not quite a palace. So I know that this is going to be a sticky wicket. I know this is going to be a little pointy. I might make a decision that goes like this. Brian, I think that we're going to have a great relationship. I think that this house is going to sell fast and for top dollar. But I'd like to invest my own capital, bringing in a third party to do an in-depth staging consultation for me and you to maximize the effectiveness. And then I'm going to go back to the house at a later date to finish that staging analysis. So on a 15-minute version, if I'm making a business decision to do the quickie, I might just use this one-page summary doc. I might make some notes on it, circle some things on it, and be done, right? On a more in-depth in person, I'm going to use the entire 8-page and do a 30 to 90 minute. And then last but not least, I might bring back what I call our buddy system, where I bring back a realtor from my office. I might bring back a friend who's familiar with this process. Maybe it's a spouse or a relationship in your community that has a particular expertise. Maybe I'm going to bring back Victoria Gouillet's package with me when I come back, because I know that this is a sticky wicket and I'm going to need to get in depth with it. But when I do it, I'm going to be like on point, and I'm going to really dig deep into all of the aspects of the house, because what I want to use this tool for is to help them see the light that their house could use either a more aggressive price or some substantial staging decisions, and that would be somebody who I really want to spend the time with to kind of work through all those steps. We've gone a little over on time, I think, because this topic has a lot of nuance. At the end of the day, you can do it yourself. I flirted with the concept of a buddy system, pairing up with another realtor in your office who does your stagings on the more severe ones, and you do hers or his on the more severe ones. Or you can bring in someone like the stage coach. Victoria offers a online staging consultation that is over the computer, where you send her pictures of the house that she requests, and she consults with you on the phone about them. There's a very, very affordable mechanism for that online service. You could find that on stagecoachservices.com. I think it's great to bring in an expert if you've got some real pointy headaches that you're dealing with, if you will, on a particular property. Maybe it's been on the market 2, 3, 4 months, and you know it's not selling, and you know it's conditional issues that are holding it back. If you turned in your home study assignment to Service at Associate Works, there's going to be a little link that's going to be part of the email back and forth between you and Service at Associate Works. And in order to complete your course, you've got to fill out that little link. That link is on the email that you're going to receive from service@associateworks.com. If you have any questions, if you didn't get a response, send a private note to service@associateworks.com. We'll be on it right away. You'll get a response the same day, or certainly first thing the next morning, and we will address everything it's going to take to make sure you get your completed real estate staging expert designation and the certificate that goes with it. It's my pleasure to kind of put that real estate spin on the whole staging dialogue, and I would like to invite you to find your way through this dialogue to get in more listing living rooms moving forward. My name is Russ Fitzpatrick. I'm one of the founders of the AnnieMac Works productivity platform nationally. And dig deep into AnnieMac Works. You're going to see, that listing scenario, that formula that we just put forward for listing is taught in great detail during our Bulletproof Listing presentation course. There's a module for every aspect of this business in the AnnieMac Works mechanism. We think it really has constructed a formula that you can follow to ensure yourself a six-figure income plus in residential real estate, and it's our pleasure to bring it to you free from charge. Reach out to AnnieMac Home Mortgage and thank them for anything that you value inside of AnnieMac Works. Thanks again.